I got asked recently what I would recommend for a bug-out bag. And I get the sentiment. People are freaking out about the world going to shit, and we see the violence in our communities growing out of the systemic, destructive, oppressive forces we face from the Dear Orange leader and his scattered minions that are growing in number and public confidence every day. And I didn't say this to them. I gave them advice on a bug-out bag generally, and I'll do the same here in a bit, but honestly, nah, that ain't it. Don't bug out. Bug in. The answer is not to run away. I don't care how close Canada is. You're from here, you deserve to live here, and you should join us in reclaiming it for us. Reinforce your community. Bug in. Okay, I've been told if I use the P word, they're going to shoot me in the head, so join my Patreon. Oh, shit. What? I told me not to. The term bugging out comes from World War II. American and British forces worked together, and some British terminology either was adopted by their American counterparts or were the ideation point for new expressions. One example is a British expression, bugger off, which roughly translates to a slightly politer version of get the fuck out of here. During war, lines are often shifting and rapidly changing, and if you're aware you may need to retreat, you'll create plans for what you have to do when you retreat, which soldiers would colloquially refer to as the bugger off plan. That would include having a satchel of some kind that would contain communication codes and maps and anything else that you needed to not let fall into enemy hands. Specifically, not attached to anyone who could die with them because they could die with them. And you could see how, if you had a bugger off plan and you had a bag that someone needed to grab, how that can easily become the bugger off bag. That style of line preparation was adopted by the American forces that entered World War II. However, buggering off became Americanized into bugging out, or got shortened to bug out, and the bag became the bugging out bag, or as we call it nowadays, the bug out bag. And honestly, you likely don't need one. Bugging out has become shorthand for insert imaginary apocalypse scenario here, and a bug out bag is a bag full of supplies you can use to fuck off into the woods in the event of an apocalypse, which, first of all, requires that your house be either destroyed or unsafe to be in. There's a handful of realistic options for what could cause that, and honestly, if you're in one, yes, have a bug out bag ready. Live near a volcano that's close to its due date, within range of a nuclear reactor. Sure, okay, have supplies to get out of that range and a plan that factors in the possible things that would stop you from getting to a safe distance. But, bugging out comes from the British equivalent of fucking off for a reason. It is assuming the location you are in is about to be completely overwhelmed with either opposing forces or something that would prevent you from being alive and being there at the same time. It is an emergency. So, first of all, figure out what your emergency is so you can figure out what your answer is. If you're worried about nuclear radiation, well, figure out what a rupture's exclusion zone would be and then create supplies to go 3 times that distance. Note that you're likely not going more than 100 miles. Same thing for a volcano. The only case where a bug-out bag might be needed to help you to go a longer distance is government oppression. If the state itself is coming for you and you are not able to stay and fight for whatever reason, having an ability to move to a new life might be required. That said, the better option is to develop a strong community that can and will repel any government that tries to oppress you. Don't give up your home. Don't start off with the assumption that they win. We deserve to live and we deserve to fight. Fight for your home. And importantly, set up a community so that this doesn't fucking happen. Set up your local government so that it is openly resistant to any sort of racist forces or any sort of queer bashing forces that might enter your community. That said, what should you actually put in a bug out bag? It's relatively simple. Papers, This is the most important thing that's in here. Your car's title, deed to your house, your birth certificate, your partner's and kids' birth certificates. Any immigration documentation that you cannot get another copy of, or that getting access to would require another agency helping or complying. A bit of water and food. You have a destination, figure out the exact longest time that it can take you to reach the destination, like everything has gone wrong levels of time where you're still going to live, and then have enough food and water to get to that destination, possibly a bit of food for when you get there. Enough gas in containers to get your car from empty to your distance. If your car had a literally dry gas tank, you should have enough fuel on you to be able to fill it up to get to the distance you need to get it. A gas mask, this one has an asterisk, as either you need one good enough to deal with radioactive material in the air, or you'll need one to deal with ash, or you just won't really need one. The former, there are a lot of NATO options that are cheap. You can get 40mm filters for not all that much money. Ash and volcano material, you will likely be fine with a good 3M mask and a set of construction glasses, but honestly, unless you are specifically worried about those direct threats, you just want the stuff you need, and this isn't a need. A change of clothes. Include extra socks and underwear. But beyond that, you really don't need a lot in your bag. Your goal is getting the fuck out. An emergency blanket would be potentially useful, as would ponchos, but neither are inherently needed as much as could be useful in some circumstances. Bugging out, as we just discussed, is the idea that you're fucking off from an area. Bugging in, on the other hand, is the inversion of that concept. You're bunkering down and telling something or someone or someones to fuck off from an area. And that is the better idea to plan for. That is the better plan A. Planning to burn your home is, frankly, dumb if you have literally any other option available to you. It should be the last choice and one made as a catastrophic failing of everything else you are trying to build. Bugging in, however, now that implies something different. It's no longer based on the original concept of buggering off. Bugging in, on the other hand, can be thought of in a number of different ways. Reinforcing a position? Sure. Hiding a position so it can't be seen? Yeah, absolutely. Making physical access to a space too difficult for an outsider to navigate while giving you specific methods of maneuvering through it the other side can't see? Yeah, definitely. Mutual aid and reinforcement of a community so that it is not willing or able to comply with fascist bullshit demands? Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't want you thinking about bugging out. I want you thinking about bugging in. Build up your community so it is a thing that is resilient to things that would make you consider bugging out. Do the hard work. It will make a better world. In the next episode, I'm going to go over more of what is necessary to do to set up your community to prepare for bugging in. But I was specifically asked at the beginning of this for my opinion on the Bugout bag. And I think the real counter to that, the one that makes sense, is now, the get a home bag is something I understand more. This is at least something I can understand the necessity of and the tactics behind. Imagine you're out when you discover you are one of the people the government is now hunting, or a group that the government refuses to stop, which is effectively the same. There will be no trial. People like you who are found are dragged into the street and beaten to death. Maybe it's a hate mob, maybe it's Christian nationalists, maybe it's Trump. Whatever it is, you need to get home to whatever your community plan is for moments like this. You have to get home. The city is clogged with checkpoints. How do you get home? This is the concept where some of the ideas of a bug-out bag in its traditional meaning might make sense. First of all, let's talk about the tactical stuff. Don't put guns in a bag like this. The whole idea is you're storing it in your car in most cases, and guns are not things you should ever store in your car. Your car is not a gun safe. That said, this is where brace conversions suddenly make a whole lot of sense to me. For one, if the bag was stolen, a gun being stolen is a nightmare, while a brace conversion getting stolen is an annoyance. for another, that brace conversion can also be shouldered and give you an additional point of contact, which can give you significant more control. And if you actually need to use your pistol to fight, it will, while not giving it the full capabilities of a carbine, it will make it far more capable than a pistol would without a brace. Water. You are made of water, and you don't know how long getting home is going to take, but you're going to need to be adding to your water the entire time. Hydrate or dihydrate. Now, the math for water is relatively simple. 1 gallon per person per day. This can make the idea of bringing a lighter pack seem appealing, but frankly, if you don't know if you'll have access to a source of water, I don't think those tools are necessarily useful. I think the smartest thing to do is bring enough water for a couple days if you can. You can get away with using a 3-liter water bladder as a full day's supply of water. So bringing 2 of those gives you roughly 48 hours of water. A little bit less if you're sticking strictly to the 1 gallon per person per day. But it's damn close, at least enough for an emergency. But also, it's worth remembering that, especially if you try to carry more water than that, but even just carrying that, water has weight to it. And the disadvantage of carrying water with you is you are carrying that weight, and you will feel it, especially if you end up having a longer march through a city. This is where a lot of people will start advocating for things like life straws or for water purification tablets, both of which I think have a place in a conversation. But if you can, I think it makes more sense to plan to just bring the water with you. That said, be realistic about your physical capability. Put the bag together, physically weigh how much it is with the amount of water that you are planning on bringing, and go for a hike with that much weight. See if you can. See how much it feels like torture carrying it around. If it's fine, then you're fine. But if it ends up feeling like it's way too heavy for any sort of emergency pack, you can also consider switching the water out for something like a life straw or water purification tablets and adding to your water supply as you go. Remember, if you are bringing 3 days worth of water for one person, that is 25 pounds of water. If you can carry that, absolutely do. It is smarter to have the water on you than to not. If you're not up for physically carrying that and the rest of this, no judgment. Food. You don't want to have to divert energy needed for getting home into the effort of refueling yourself. Make sure you have enough fuel on hand to keep yourself going. MREs are great for food you can throw in a bag and just trust to be good when you're going. We got several videos incoming on DIY MREs, stay tuned. I can say from experience that Korean rations are a great option, although you have to remember to cycle them out every year. Navigation. Have a map of your state, and if you can, maps of any area you're going to visit with as much detail as you can. Linked in the doobly-doo is a National Geographic website, which you can print out local maps of any area on a color printer on 8.5 by 11 paper and get legitimately good results. I would highly recommend having your local area and all of the local areas around you printed out and ready to go. Tech. You're going to want to get a flashlight as well as a headlamp. A flashlight lets you get light up close on a thing. It allows you for easier light discipline. It's easy to lend or leave on something that needs light, while the headlamp is easier to use without intention, and it allows for light to naturally fall on things you're looking at. Also, a phone charger. You know what absolutely sucks to have happen? Your phone die when you need it. Now imagine your phone dying when you are desperately trying to connect with loved ones during some kind of nightmare. Yeah, solar options are even better. A survival blanket, a bivvy, and a waterproof tarp. You're going to want to get home, that's the point. We're not looking for a full-on camping setup, but some bits to throw together, a quick compromise shelter can go a long way. A lighter and some fire starter material would also not go amiss here. Work gloves. You want something you can protect your hands with. Last thing you want is to be also dealing with an infection in your skin. Socks. Not just because you want a bunch of socks, changing socks can be a huge relief after a long march, especially if they get wet. But also, they are surprisingly useful for protecting other things that need an extra layer of waterproofing. A change of shirt and change of pants, as well as a couple pairs of underwear. You want to be able to change your clothing if you need to dry the originals. N95 masks and nitrile gloves, both are useful for making sure you're safe if there's a significant amount of dust or if there's a sickness that's part of the problem. A basic first aid kit to be able to patch up basic wounds. Infection can kill you as much as a bullet can. Be able to close your own wounds. A full tang knife. This is not so much a fighting tool as a general purpose tool. Cutting cord and branches and even giving you a digging tool. Folders are fine if you need to save space, but a good solid fuck-off knife is often more useful than you think, and folders tend to be flimsy right where the metal folds. The reason I specify full tang is the metal goes all the way to the bottom of the handle. By definition, a folder has the blade stop at the point of the fold because it has to fold into itself. And a good solid fuck-off knife is more useful than you'd think. Speaking of, a multi-tool. Something with a few basic tools. In particular, try and find something that can repair the rest of your equipment. Paracord. This stuff is amazing. Everything from a tent to a security system to a ladder to carry a person to a sling in a pinch. Tools that have flexibility are good. Hence, duct tape. Enough said. Toothbrush, toothpaste, soap. Again, hygiene is just as important now, arguably more so. A sewing kit and super glue. Quick repairs for things like clothing and shoes are huge. Remember, clothing is part fashion, but it's largely functional. Stuff like shoes not working can affect how long you can walk and how high you can climb. Hand sanitizer. We're past COVID, I'm not saying more. Portable bidet. Okay, so going back to the hand sanitizer. No. So, the bidet might seem like a strange choice, but it serves multiple purposes. For one, you don't need potable water for a bidet. You can find a stream or a river, you have an infinite supply. For another, portable bidets pack small. Not quite as small as a tiny roll of toilet paper, but they trade that for you not having to worry about the paper you're pulling out of your pack having long since become ripped during the hike and now being best described as shredded ribbons. Now, look, that's a lot of information thrown at you, but I want you to take that in with an eye towards the next lesson. Perhaps the most important video I've made yet on this channel, how to set up your community so it's ready when you get home. We're going to start talking about ways to organize those around you so you can have a better chance at surviving against anything wishing to rip your community apart. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much to my Patreons, these lovely names right here. Biggest shout out to Molly McAllister, the member of my shout out gang. If you want to get your name shouted out, you should come join us. That's a perk that you can pick. And supporting the channel is best done through Patreon. Most of my stuff gets demonetized or gets algorithmically screwed with. So having the Patreon income is really the best way to make sure I can continue making these videos. That's going to be it for me. Thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Stay dangerous, y'all. Keep each other safe. And remember, moral doesn't mean legal. And Stonewall was a fucking riot. Ice.